Welcome to the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast, episode number 128. Welcome. I'm Jill. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Chris. Jill and I are your co-hosts for this podcast and the founders of the Becoming Ellie community. If you're wondering why we use the name Ellie, Ellie was the Norse goddess of aging who beat Thor in a wrestling match. We decided to name our community after her because we were inspired to be more like Ellie, fit and strong.
Yes, indeed. You can find out more about our Becoming Ellie community and this podcast at our website, becomingellie.com. Ellie is spelled E-L-L-I.
Be sure to sign up for our newsletter while you're there. That way you'll know about new episodes and anything else that's new in our world.
Today's episode is a very informative one. Linda Stevens is a wealth of knowledge.
Yes, she sure does share a lot of great information for midlife women. Let's go to the podcast. Linda Stevens' primary focus is working with midlife women over 40 or 50 and beyond to help them achieve confidence, exude sexiness, and feel comfortable in their own skin again. Her motto is, midlife should be the bridge to your new life.
Linda has developed a comprehensive 6-week program taught virtually to women around the globe called Midlife Mastery. Linda guides women by educating them on how their bodies change in midlife. Women involved in the program learn cutting-edge, science-backed data for hormone balance, longevity, mood, libido, and weight loss.
Linda holds her master's degree in nutrition, competed as an IFBB figure pro, and IFBB stands for International Federation of Bodybuilding, and is a National Academy of Sports Medicine, and that's NASM certified personal trainer. Linda writes for livestrong.com, Darien Magazine, Muscle and Fitness, Hers, Oxygen Magazine, and has contributed to Strong Magazine. And she also has her own health and wellness channel on plus.muscleandfitness.com.
Linda is a midlife woman herself, a mom of 2 children, 18 and 21 years old. She currently resides in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and has lived there for over 25 years. Welcome, Linda. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you both. This is fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, we appreciate having you here.
I guess let's just start with the basic question. Why is it important that we lift weight when we are over 50?
Well, lifting weights definitely contributes to, building bone density. And of course, as we age, we lose a lot of things. Hormones, our bone density suffers, we lose muscle mass, our digestion's different, our metabolism slows down. And strength training really addresses a lot of those issues because it'll help you maintain that bone integrity and also keep your metabolism going, helps your libido, helps you, keep your weight in check. So there's so many benefits, not just keeping our bones strong as we age, but just keeping us feeling good about ourselves too. You just, you get that positive endorphin rush, and everybody knows that's probably listening. When you may walk into the gym like, oh God, I really don't want to do this. And I know I feel like that a lot of times. And I know people don't believe me, but it's true. But you always walk out feeling like a rock star. And that's the best part. That right there, that's the message. So, and people experience it and they know.
Yeah.
I like the thought that you help women exude sexiness because that is something that many of us sort of forget about as we get older. So
it's important. I mean, you want to like who you are. That's the first piece of it, right? But you also, when you dress up, if you go out, or even if you're in gym clothes, or you're just home in PJs, as I like to say, which I'm in a lot. As I get older, I love to just get in my pajamas as soon as possible. But I remember one day my daughter was like, Mom, it's like 4:00. You're already in your pajamas. I'm like, I know, but I'm not going anywhere. So I just,
I can't wait to go to bed.
But I mean, it's, you want to feel good. You feel like you want to feel really good about yourself when you go out into the world. You should feel sexy and confident and good. It shouldn't just be something you experience in your 20s and early 30s. Even as a mom, you want to be a hot mom,
Right.
Sure. Well, you have a background in bodybuilding, and
Yes.
our listeners are women over 50 who are trying to stay fit, strong, and healthy. But for some of those who are listening who may be worried about lifting weights and their body becoming too muscular,
Yep.
bulk up, what can you tell them?
So I can tell them that they don't have to worry about that, because it's really a myth. And I do hear that a lot when I talk to women.
Sure.
And given that I was a competitor for a long time, and that's definitely a part of my life, people sometimes will come to me and say, well, I want to work with you, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder. And I always have to say, look, that was something that I liked to do. It was a hobby. It was fun, but that's not my message for my lifestyle clients. Like, my message is to just help them learn how to make lifestyle modifications so that they feel healthier and good about themselves. But it's really hard for a woman to get bulky or look manly or become a bodybuilder. I mean, we don't have the testosterone. We have testosterone, but we don't have that enough for us to turn into that. Like, you would need some help. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the older we get, the harder it is to build muscle. It can be done for sure, but you would have to go above and beyond and maybe use things that would help you get that big. It doesn't happen. But what women will do when I tell them, look, don't be afraid to pick up a 15-pound dumbbell or a 20-pound dumbbell. I mean, what it's going to do is help you build shape and help you build that muscle and replace fat with muscle so that you have that nice shape and that your metabolism is like tip top, so that, you can enjoy things that you like to have, but your body will just burn it up for fuel because you're more muscle mass than you are fat.
Got it. Thank you.
So you said you give people strategies and techniques to help them change their body composition. Can you sort of talk about that for a minute? What some of those are? Sure.
So when I have a woman who comes to me, I usually get a lot of, different. Some people are in the gym already doing stuff and they're not eating the way they should be to support their efforts in the gym. They're not getting the results because maybe their diet's not great or they're not eating enough, which oddly enough is usually the case. Women will come and they need to lose weight. They're like, I don't know why I need to lose weight. I hardly ever eat. Well, that's the problem. You need to fuel your body because your body's smart and it'll slow down to hold on to what you do give it. So, depending on the person, it really comes down to looking at how they're moving, or if they're more sedentary, looking at how they're eating. What is their diet? Is it a more of an inflammatory type diet, processed foods, fast foods, things like that? Are they not eating enough? Do they have any health issues? And then really addressing those things individually, because, there are some supplements that are great for women in midlife. And, some women, need other things. One of my favorite ones is evening primrose oil, which has been shown to be great for women of all ages. I have my 18-year-old daughter. She's been using it since she started menstruating, but it's great for hormone balance from, even if you're cycling or if you're post-menopause. It's great to helps with anxiety. It's great for your skin, your hair. It's just one of those supplements I like to give to all my women, unless they're using something a medication, but usually it doesn't contraindicate with many medications. But, there are just some key things that women are deficient in that they should be using. And also too, I like to look at blood work. So usually one question will be for a first timer is, when was the last time you did fresh blood work? When was the last time you had your bloods looked at? So we can see your vitamin D levels and we can look at everything and see what you may need some help in what areas. Are your hormones low? Is your testosterone low? Where are you at? So that we can decide, what they might need to use to help them get maximum benefits.
Good. Do you have any specific suggestions that you give to women who are dealing with issues around menopause or perimenopause? Because that's a, important group with the over 50 crowd. Right?
No, it is. It's interesting. I was actually talking to a friend of mine last night who's like about mid-30s. And
okay.
She was just saying how, I really just don't have some of the energy I used to have when I would go in the gym. I just don't feel like my lifts are as productive as they were. And I said, well, you do realize, you're almost 35 and perimenopause sort of starts about 10 years, right around that 35 mark when things start to, start to fall off. I said, you might want to go test your hormone levels and see where you're at. And I actually need to do that myself. That's on my to-do list to get that done. But, it's really important for a woman to really know where she's at with her hormone levels, because it makes such a big difference physiologically as far as bone mass too. I mean, you can take all the calcium supplements in the world that you want, but if your estrogen's low, you're not going to absorb it. And, then the calcium just floats around in your blood, and that can cause other health issues. So in a lot of women don't realize that. It's really, understanding where they are at in the cycle. And then when was the last time they really did have a good checkup with a doctor that understands the female hormones. And one thing, I've developed a good relationship with a doctor who does bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And we've had some great conversations just about bioidenticals and how important it is for a woman, to know if she can get ahead of it and use some bioidenticals before she goes into menopause, what the benefits are there. If you're in it, helping you with bone mass and cardiovascular health, and even shown to help with reducing Alzheimer's and dementia susceptibility. So it's really important for us as females in midlife to understand what's going on.
Most doctors would not test you for hormones.
I know.
Especially once you're postmenopausal, they don't really care at all.
They don't care.
Hormones.
I know.
I don't know. I follow Dr. Sarah Gottfried. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not. She's fantastic. And she's all about, women's health, women's hormones. And she's on YouTube. Her Instagram is probably the best place to go to check her out. But she talks all about that. And I've even had clients that I've worked with that have gone to their OBGYNs and, mentioned bioidenticals or talked about hormone replacement therapy. And one client, I remember, she came back and said, my doctor jumped out of his chair and was like, absolutely not. But I think some of it's not FDA approved. So that's one thing. And then the other piece is that a lot of them just are not, and I'm not knocking them at all in any way, but they're just not educated in it. So you have to find someone like a Dr. Gottfried, or if can I float the doctor I've been talking to? His name is Dr. Jacobson, and he's fantastic. Edward Jacobson. He's all telehealth, so he works with people everywhere. But you need to find someone that understands it, because there's a lot of really good health benefits for us. And it's really opened my eyes. It's a whole area I've been really reading and learning more about. So if I have a woman that comes and, some people can only get so much from lifestyle changes that maybe they may need to have a conversation with someone like him to say, hey, this may be, it may be a thyroid thing. It could be an estrogen progesterone thing. And maybe you need more testosterone, something like that.
Yeah. If you don't test it, you have no way of knowing why you're feeling so different. Yep. So no matter how great you eat or various things.
It's true.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're suggesting we hunt around for the doctor that will actually do the.
You know what? I'll put links in our show notes to both.
Dr. Jacobson, he's got a great website, and it's Edward Jacobson and Sarah Gottfried. Go right to her Instagram. She's on YouTube also, but she is a pioneer for women's health. She really is.
Yeah, I've seen some of her things.
Yeah, she's just really smart. She just did a great podcast too with Andrew Huberman. Do you know Andrew Huberman?
Oh yeah.
Well, I've listened to his podcast a lot.
Yeah, he just did one with her maybe 2 or 3 podcasts ago, and it was fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll link to that one too in our show notes.
There's a lot of
awesome.
There's a lot of good information out there. You just have to find it.
Right. And you're right. A lot of doctors don't want to even talk about it. Forget it. They want to deal with the basics.
Yeah. But why? If there's things that we can do, like why age? We have to age. We can't stop it. But like I always say, I want to age the best way I possibly can. I want to feel good. I want to be productive at 70, 80, 90, whatever, So, and if there are things that we can do, and it's not, I think sometimes people think it's uber expensive too, but it's not as bad as you would think. And you don't, Like, and you can take it in chunks too. You can do a little bit and then maybe do a little bit. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
You have a program called Midlife Mastery.
Yes.
tell us what women can expect to do in that? And
Sure.
Is that available to everyone?
Yes.
Is it online?
So it is. It's virtual, so it's available to everyone. And I've done it twice. Probably in 2018, I did it twice, and it was a great success. It was 8 weeks then, but I've kind of shortened it up to 6 weeks because I know everybody's attention span's a little bit shorter than that in the world we live in now. And
5 years ago, we could sit for 8 weeks, but
I know what I should have done was had it launched it during COVID, but it's a 6-week program now. And I've actually brought a partner in with me who's a doctor who works with a lot of women and works with women's health issues. And we're actually going to meet tonight to solidify some things. But our goal is to get the next one launched in the beginning of April. So it'll be a 6-week course. And we go through a myriad of things. We talk about hormone balance. We're going to talk about bioidenticals, lifestyle, eating, nutrition, training, blood work, things that you should be doing. And at the end of all of it, they'll walk away with a really good idea of how to proceed in midlife. Maybe they do get their blood work done and see what they need to do, what they need to change, how their eating is, so that they can walk away knowing, okay, here's a really good picture of the things that I need to do so that I can go forward and like I said, age well and feel good. Because so many women, I talk to women every day, and most people are battling the same thing. They can't get the weight off. They don't sleep that great. They don't feel really good. They've kind of lost their joie de vivre, if you will. And this course is designed to give them all that information, not overload them, but enough to say, hey, here's the quick and dirty. These are the things you should be doing in order to turn things around.
I wanted to talk a little bit about strength training, and I'm wondering, how do you recommend beginners get started with strength training? Do you have a beginners program?
I do. So when women come to me, how I work is a woman will inquire and we have a conversation, and I'll take a whole health history from them. So I really understand about what they're dealing with and what their goals are. And if they choose to sign on to work with me one-on-one, it encompasses, a meal plan based on their life and the things that they can eat, any food allergies, medications, things like that. And then also there is an exercise component to it. And it depends on the person. I have women that will come to me that are very overweight, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. I had a woman that was over 100 pounds overweight. So that program looks a little bit different than someone maybe that wants to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Someone that needs to lose a lot of weight, maybe I have them walking and just doing a few body weight things until they really get into it and they start losing weight. And then they're like, okay, I want to do more now. I feel a little more conditioned. I feel a little bit more, I'm ready to take on a little bit more. And then maybe we add dumbbells in and have them doing different things, whether they're in the gym or they're doing it at home. And then if someone only has to lose a little bit of weight and they're still a newbie, it's a matter of understanding their bodies and still having them start slow, because I never want someone to be so sore for the next 2 or 3 days that they're like, I can't move and I'm not doing anything for a week, right. Because that defeats the purpose. And it's funny how people, will be like, well, I did the workout and it wasn't that bad. And it's almost like they want to be beaten into the ground. Like, why am I not lying on the floor dying? Yeah. And I always tell them, I'm like, right. That's great. I want you to, message me tomorrow. Tell me how you feel tomorrow and the day after that. Because sometimes it takes a couple of days for, the effect to ensue, that delayed onset muscle soreness, the DOMS we talk about.
DOMS. Yeah. Right.
But so, and it's with someone new, it's just progressing them slowly. And sometimes walking and changing their eating a little bit is enough. And that gets the ball rolling and they see, wow, I lost 3 pounds or I lost 5 pounds or, and that hooks them. And then they're like, okay, I'm committed to this because I'm getting results and I feel good. So It's baby steps.
What about someone who's been lifting for a while, but they've had some sort of injury or setback or a timeout for some reason or another? What's the best way to get back into it?
The best way for someone like that to get back into it is, it's first, again, to understand if it was an injury, what was it? Was it a knee, a shoulder, back? What was it? How do they feel now? Are they able to do certain movements? Should we avoid certain movements? But, it's getting them, just getting back on the horse and just getting back in there. Sometimes it's just get started. Maybe it's just, if they're going to a gym, maybe it's just a machine workout for 30 minutes, use some different machines, maybe a little cardiovascular and out so that they don't feel like, they're overwhelmed initially. Just, getting back in the door. And like we said at the beginning, when you walk out, it's like, oh, I feel so good. Like I feel great. You feel proud of yourself. You accomplished something. So it's getting them to get that feeling because then they want to keep doing it.
Right. Sometimes the hardest thing is just getting through the door to begin with. Yeah,
totally. It's just getting on that machine or just walking in. I do that sometimes when I'm going in to train my legs and I'm like, oh, that's like the last thing I want to do now is, lunge or squat or deadlift. And it's like, I talk to myself. I'm like, all right, just start. And if you really feel like you don't want to be there, leave. But I never leave.
Yeah.
Once you get the blood flowing, you feel good.
Yeah. Getting there's the main thing. Right.
It is. It's just getting in there and just saying that you're going to do it. And it's, it's like, I tell people, no one's looking at you. No one cares what you're doing. No one's watching you. No one, they're all probably having the same concerns that you are. I don't want people to look at me. I don't want people to watch me.
Yeah, that's a common problem.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
It is.
Yeah, we hear that.
It can be intimidating. I even know when I travel and stuff and I go to different gyms when I'm away, I always feel a little intimidated when you walk in. Cause like, all right, I don't know where anything is, so this is what I always do cause I feel like that too sometimes. I always tell myself, I'm like, let's go get on a treadmill, find a treadmill, get on a treadmill and just walk and look around while you're on the treadmill and just try to figure out where stuff is. And then it's like, okay, there's the leg equipment's over there. The cables are over here. So you sort of, it's navigate it and
use that treadmill warm up to kind of get yourself organized.
Yep. And that way you can look around and sort of survey the land and say, okay, I know where everything kind of is. And this is what I want to do.
That's good advice. So if you are new to the gym and you're nervous about it, even if you just go in and for your first time, just use the treadmill, but use that time to look around and figure out where are the dumbbells and
absolutely.
So I can avoid those because that's the most terrifying thing I can think of. There are machines I can use.
Or the kettlebells.
Yep.
Right.
I know. And and the other cool thing too is like the gym is a great place to make friends too. Most of the time, people are pretty friendly in the gym. That's always been my experience. And if you're in there and you're not sure how to do something, if they have trainers there, you can always ask a question or you can ask somebody something. I mean, I've even asked people like, how do you use this machine? I have no idea. I'm reading the directions. I can't figure it out, so, and then people will be like, oh, this, and this. Okay, cool. Thanks. And you'll start to see the same people over and over again. It's, you might make some really good friendships there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a woman at my gym who goes every weekday from like 1 to 4. And but she's almost 80 years old and she has the most beautiful arms. But anyway, she's got a lot of muscle for her age. Yep. But I said, why are you always here in the afternoon? And she said, I see the same people all the time and it's my community. Mm-hmm. I get a chance to talk to people that I know. And so it's just like her social time.
Yeah. And if she looks great, she could be doing some bioidentical hormones too. I mean, she could totally.
I don't know. She does look good, but I've never, that's not something.
Yeah. Just making an assumption, but it could definitely be a possibility.
Well, she does look good. So, and sort of tied in with that is that people who deal with anxiety and stress, do you have any way of helping people manage those feelings with either their nutrition or their exercise? What do you suggest to your clients on overcoming those kinds of feelings?
Definitely. There's a lot of that. And I know I experience it too. I definitely get anxiety. It's the weirdest thing. I've never had it. And like in the last year or so, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I feel really heavy right here. What is going on?
There's like an anxiety epidemic right now. So.
Yeah, I think everybody experiences it at some point in some fashion. Some people just have it, chronic. Some of it's acute. Couple things. One is workouts definitely do help with that. But then again, it's depending on the person, you have to get them there. Some people like to work out at home and that's great because they have equipment. A lot of people now since the pandemic have an elliptical or a treadmill and have a weights and a mat and things like that. So if I can get them, if they prefer to stay at home, just get them moving a little bit. And they always, that, like I said, raises those positive endorphins and they feel great. The other thing I have started doing on my own, probably over the last year or two, is really practicing mindful meditation. And I'm certainly not a meditative expert, because sometimes when I sit down and to calm myself, I start thinking I got to go to the grocery store. And then when I'm done with this, I got to run over here. And then I got to go
the to-do list.
I got to answer this client, and I got all these text messages I got to answer. So I try to quiet my mind as much as I can. And I always tell my clients to try to just find, even if it's 5 minutes a day, 5-10 minutes a day, go somewhere where no one knows where you are at that particular time. And just close your eyes. You can put on meditative music. You can stay quiet, and just take 10 minutes and just close your eyes and breathe and just sort of I always say, let your body float. I close my eyes and I just tell myself that, let your body float. And it does release. And if you can, but you have to be somewhere quiet. I'm an advocate of sitting in my car when I pull into the garage because no one knows I'm there. And sometimes I fall asleep, but it's finding somewhere that's quiet. So it might be outside of the house. Maybe it's a meditative walk. Maybe it's something like that. But we all need to just pull the plug for a few minutes. And 5 minutes makes a big difference. If you just breathe a little bit and tell yourself, all right, I'm a little bit crazy, but I got this. I'll be okay. I love two people I love to listen to, Mel Robbins and Joel Osteen, because they're just both about, just relax, breathe. You have food, clothing, shelter. You have people that love you. Those are the things that are most important. Your family is healthy. Your children are healthy, whatever it is. And just count the things that are positive and that are good. And that works, because a lot of people don't do that.
Counting your blessings really does make a difference.
And I know it's so simple, and I know I don't know if it sounds corny or what, but it really works. And I feel like if my kids are healthy and they're safe, I'm like, that's the best thing in the world. What's better than that?
Yeah.
For me,
yeah.
that's my kids are good. I'm solid. So
I just read a thing about gratitude journals, and that people who keep a gratitude journal have much better health results than people who don't.
Yeah. I'm
not a great person at doing journaling, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah. I don't really journal either, but I repeat it out loud before I go to bed at night, and I would say it out loud when I get up in the morning. And then sometimes during the day, if I get stressed, I'm like, okay, I know I'm fine. I have everything I need, and I'll talk to myself. So.
Okay, good.
Switching gears a little bit. You're a professional athlete in the International Federation of Bodybuilding, and you help women prepare for competition. What exactly is bodybuilding and a competition?
So it is getting in the federation that I competed as an amateur in for about 4 years, there's a lot of different federations out there that hold these competitions.
Okay.
I would say the main one, and the one that most people recognize, is the NPC, which is the National Physique Committee. That is the amateur division of the International Federation of Bodybuilding, which is the IFBB. So if you ladies remember Muscle and Fitness magazine or any of those magazines way back in the day.
Yeah.
Back when there were a lot of magazines.
I know there was Flex, there was a whole bunch of them, and there was Muscle and Fitness, Hers, and a bunch of different ones. But a lot of the athletes in those magazines were IFBB pros, which just means they competed as amateurs, and then they did a competition where they turned pro. And the difference is, when you turn pro, you win money when you place in the top 3. That you get a money prize, whereas as an amateur you get a trophy and you go on your way. So. It's within the women's divisions. They have a few different ones. There's bikini, which is like a beach body look. Excuse me. Then there's figure, which is what I did, which is a more muscular, athletic, feminine look. And bikini and figure wear heels. So you wear the clear heels and the sparkly bikinis and all that. And then after, figure is another class called physique, which is more muscle. They don't wear shoes. They wear the sparkly bikini, but they have a lot more muscle mass. They tend to be a lot leaner and more shredded. And obviously women's bodybuilding is much bigger than that. And there's a couple of new federations now that they are new classes for women. They have a class called Wellness, which is like the bikini, but the women have more muscle. So it's, if a woman wants to compete and she comes to me, it's a matter of looking at her body and figuring out what class she would fit into. A lot of women like to do the bikini or the figure. It seems to be, for women that I work with that are in midlife, that want to compete, that have never competed, those are usually the two classes that they tend to go towards. Then it's a matter of dieting them down so they get lean and look the part. So when they get on stage, if it's figure, you can see their shoulders, you can see their abs, you can see their glutes, hamstrings, quads. If it's bikini, it's more of a, more of a beach body with some muscle definition, but not a lot. Like that's not how they should look. So it's just dieting them and feeding them a certain way. And it takes about, I would say 14 to 16 weeks to get someone ready to get on stage. And then the day of the show, they do posing in the morning where they're judged by judges, a judging panel of about usually seven judges. And then they take a break. And then at night they come out and they do the night portion, which is where they give out all the awards and all that. So, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like you have to work out, you have to do a lot of cardio, you got to diet. It's all in. Like you can't.
It almost sounds like training for a marathon.
Yeah. It's like,
similar time frame.
There's no cheat meals. There's no, there's no alcohol. Yeah. There's, it's pretty lean and mean. You're weighing and measuring everything. And it's pretty intense, but it's fun. I did it for a long time. I loved it when I did it, but I'm good now.
Can women over 50 do that? And
yes.
Are there age groups so that you're
There are. And the thing that's awesome now too is that they have the master's classes, which oddly enough starts at 35. So they have 35 and over. Yeah. I know. Isn't that funny? And then they'll have a 40. Sometimes they have a 40. Sometimes they have 45, 50, 55 and over for women. So it's great because you can you can compete with your peers. So you're not 50 something and you're up there with a 20 something. I mean, it's just not to say that a 50 something doesn't look great because these women look amazing, but it's different if you're standing next to a 20-year-old. Skin tone and all that. It's just the way it is.
Well, I want to ask you another question here. In our introduction, we mentioned that you have a master's in nutrition. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. Do you recommend that midlife women eat a certain way? I mean, is there a difference in how we eat if we're lifting or not?
Yes. The rule of thumb, protein is such an important macronutrient for everybody, but we're talking about women here. Yeah. So we'll keep it there. But as we age, we lose muscle mass and our metabolism changes, our digestion changes. So it's really important that women are getting enough protein every day, whether they're working out or not. And the rule of thumb for your average person is a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be getting 100 grams of protein. Now, if you're more athletic and you're working out or lifting or you're, some sort of runner or some other type of sport, you want to maybe bump that up a little bit more so that it's a gram and a half of protein per pound of body weight. So you just, you want to get a little bit more because you're pushing your body more than the average person would. That's really important that women know that they're getting enough. Because, I always say, do you want to be pushing a walker around with the little tennis balls on the bottom, or do you want to be walking around on your own, But we see it every day. You see elderly people that are hunched over and they're using walkers. Someone's got to help them. And,
well, not even elderly people.
Yeah, that's true.
Just there are the age, there's just a profound difference in people that you see. And, we really are wanting to stay on the one side
exactly.
of it.
And nobody wants that. I mean, if someone has an illness, that's one thing, but last thing a woman wants to do is have brittle bones and then she trips and falls and breaks her hip. And that's really, that's never a good outcome for someone who's older. So it's important they're getting enough protein, and it's important that they know about their bones, their bone mineral density, so that they understand the things that they need to do to keep themselves strong. But yes, we want to eat at this point in our lives a low inflammatory diet too, which just simply means eating foods, eating, berries are awesome because they're anti-inflammatory. Avocados, a good extra virgin olive oil, foods that, organic, we need to eat. I'm in favor of eating red meat, but I just choose organic grass-fed beef. It has to be that way because commercially raised meat is full of antibiotics, and they feed it, genetically modified grain and corn and things that animals shouldn't be eating. Cows should eat grass, not corn. So, it's making good food choices because then that affects everything. And I'm a big advocate of not drinking or drinking as little as possible because it seems especially since COVID, a lot of women are drinking a lot more alcohol.
Yes.
And alcohol has been, the studies are there. And I know they say, resveratrol and this and that, but the studies are there to show that alcohol, 1 to 2 drinks a week, can lead to breast cancer in women, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer. And the science is there. And I think, I feel like we all partied in our 20s and early 30s. It's like, maybe now we just sort of, plus nobody feels good. It's not the same. When you were younger and you had too much to drink, you wake up in the morning, you felt kind of lousy for a little while and had coffee and breakfast, and then you sort of rallied. But I think at our once over 40 and over, it's different when you drink. It takes a long time to recover the next day and you're dry. And a lot of women will say they're having hot flashes. They can't sleep. They're sweating. And then the minute they cut out the red wine or, the alcohol at night, they're like, wow, I sleep better. I don't have all that body flushing going on. And it does make a big difference. Yeah,
that's a big issue. I know.
It is. I mean, if you have one glass of red wine, I haven't had it in so long, but if I did, I know I'm warm. I can't sleep. The covers are on, the covers are off. The covers are on, the covers are off.
That's a lot of protein, though. Do you have any suggestions on how to get
it all?
Yeah, to get it all in there.
Yeah. How do you eat that much, right?
Do you recommend protein powders?
Yeah. So you could do, I love using, eggs are great, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. If someone will eat dairy, some people choose not to, but those are two great proteins. And protein powders are awesome. It's a great way. You can make a smoothie, and you can put all your superfoods in it. You can throw kale in it, avocados, your berries, in the blender, ice. You can make something really flavorful. And I do that once a day, and just eating good quality animal protein. If you eat animal protein, about 4-ounce serving or so, 3.5, 4 ounces. It depends on the person's height and weight and what they want to do. But animal proteins, if you tend to lean more towards a plant-based diet, you just want to make sure that you're pairing things that make complete proteins. Like if you did beans and rice, make a complete amino acid profile you'll get that. Using a plant-based protein powder, there's a lot of like hemp and pea protein and a lot of different types of protein powders you can use. And they're safe to use. You can use them once or twice a day. Just doing things like that. You can add in some different types of seeds that have some protein content and just mix things up so that you're getting enough protein. If you tend to go more on the vegan side, even if you use, like tofu, one of my clients today asked me if I could give them something, give them some tofu ideas. And tofu is not bad either. It's just, you have to make sure you buy that it's not GMO. It's not genetically modified because most soy in the US and corn is genetically modified. So you really have to find an organic, good source of tofu or corn if you're going to use, any type of corn products. I love tortilla chips. So I just make sure I always buy organic tortilla chips. But, you just have to be a smart consumer too, because not everything, on the shelves is healthy, even if it says it is.
If they find good tofu, can you tell us what you recommend? What they do with it?
That's a good question. Tofu, I think it really takes on the flavor of whatever you mix it with. So, you could use it, you could use salsa with it. Some people put barbecue sauce on it. I've seen people put it on the grill and barbecue it. You could break it up and throw it in salad. I've even seen it barbecued. Whole Foods sometimes has it in the case. They have barbecued tofu strips. And I'm like, that looks interesting. But, a lot of people will eat it with vegetables or put something on it and mix it up and just throw it in a salad.
Okay. Going back to the lifting, how important is it to fuel when you're lifting? How should we fuel for a lift?
I would say, I'll usually eat about an hour or so, hour and a half before I lift, something like that. Because I want to have a little bit, if I'm eating food, I want to have time to digest.
Right. Yeah.
I like to drink branched chain amino acids while I work out, intra workout. And that, that's not stimulant free. It's just some amino acids, some protein flavored. Usually it's like fruit punch or something. And sometimes I like to throw glutamine in it, which is another amino acid. Sometimes I put my creatine in there also, and I'll drink that while I lift because it just sort of gives you that little extra fuel while you're working out. And then post workout, I like doing a shake. That's when I have my protein shake is post workout. I'll have a shake with some fruit and maybe a little fat or some carbs with it. But you could eat food. Like you could do some chicken and some kind of simple carb, like maybe some white rice or white potato or something like that. That that digests quickly, so your muscles can uptake that fuel that you just used. The whole point is to replenish post. Mm-hmm. And the window, there's so many different schools of thought on a lot of this, but the window is usually, within 30 minutes, probably max about an hour post workout that you want to eat some food. So, you could do, some people are like, no, it's got to be right away. And other people, are like, the window is, within like 30 minutes or so, you want to eat. You want to definitely eat within the hour, I would say, for sure. You need to.
Yeah. By the time you do the cool down and, get packed up, your shower, all of a sudden it's time.
I'm a big fan. I like in the morning, I do fasted cardio for about 30 minutes. When I get up in the morning and I just put my clothes on. I have an elliptical in my house. So I do my elliptical every morning for 30 minutes and then I'll shower and then I'll eat. And then I weight train later on in the day, usually like 11 o'clock. And then when I get home after that, I make a shake and I have some fruit and maybe a piece of toast or something with it.
Well, you mentioned creatine, and many of us midlife women don't know anything about that. Can you explain what that is?
Creatine is awesome. And I know it's people say the same thing about creatine that they'll say about weight training. I don't want to get big and bulky and bloated. And isn't that a steroid? And are you sure? Creatine is, I think, the most researched supplement out there. They've been studying it for like hundreds of years. And it's not a steroid. Your body makes it and your muscles can only store so much. So if you've ever had a really hard workout and you sort of get a little fatigued or you get a little burnt out towards the end, it's usually because you're running out of what you've got stored. You're running out of that gas that your muscles need. So creatine, by supplementing with it, it just gives your body more because you can only store so much. So when you supplement with it, it just gives your body that little extra to help you get through that workout. Now, you can take it before you lift. You can put it in your post-workout shake and take it post-workout. It doesn't really matter because you get the benefits no matter what. So if you take it pre, you get the benefits then. If you take it post, you're getting it the next day kind of thing. But you're using it every day. So it just builds up. And the old school thought was that you had to load it. Like you had to take a lot of it for 5 days straight or a week straight. But that's kind of old school science now. You don't have to do that. Women really can use like 2.5 grams to 5 grams a day, which equates to like a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon a day. It's easy to throw it in a shake, or if you use branched chain amino acids like I do when you lift, I throw it in there and just drink it intra workout. The other great thing about creatine, not only does it help you, build muscle mass and have good productive workouts, is now it's been shown that it protects cognitive health. So it protects your brain. So they've done.
Well, that's something.
Well, you know what? You should use it every day. Just go to the store, Vitamin Shop, Whole Foods, Amazon, wherever. All you need is a creatine monohydrate. That's it. You don't have to buy anything with fancy bells and whistles. Don't spend a ton of money on it. It should only be, depending on the size of the canister, maybe $20, $30, something simple. And depending on the size. And you want to use it every day, regardless of whether you lift or not, because it has been shown to help preserve muscle mass and help preserve our brain health. And if you Google it, the studies are there. They're giving it to elderly people now, and it's helping them with Alzheimer's and dementia and different things. So it's a great supplement to use. It's not going to make you bloated. Ladies that are listening, it holds muscle, it holds water intramuscle in the muscle. It doesn't hold water subcutaneously, which means under the skin. So you're not going to be bloated and puffy. It just keeps the water in the muscle, which allows it to be productive when you're working out.
Good to know. Great.
And then the glutamine that you mentioned?
Glutamine is also an amino acid, and that is for gut health. Glutamine is great for digestive health, gut health, and immune health. And of course, your immune system is located in your gut, so it benefits all three of those. And it helps with muscle recovery and muscle soreness. Same thing, I do a teaspoon, maybe once or twice a day, maybe a teaspoon in my branched chain amino acids, and I might throw another teaspoon in my shake.
Okay, and now let's go to branched chain amino acids.
Yeah. They're it's vasine, leucine, and isoleucine. Those are your three branched chain amino acids. Those are three proteins which help build muscle. You'll find it, usually it's flavored, and I just say buyer beware, same thing. Just look at the ingredients, make sure it doesn't have too many artificial colors and stuff in it. Like that's one you want to stay away from. Just find something that's pretty simple, but it just gives you that extra fuel while you're working out. And it makes your water taste better. I have my clients sometimes use it in between meals if they get hungry. I'll tell them, make some and drink a little bit. It sort of will curb your hunger until you get to whatever your next meal is. Because I usually have people eating probably about every 3 hours or so throughout the day.
So it's a powder that you mix with water?
Yeah, it's a flavored powder, and you mix it with water, shake it up. I like to put mine in the freezer for a little while before I go to the gym, and it gets a little icy, so it stays like that. And some clients make popsicles with it in the summertime if they want to feel like they're having a treat. So and they have, a lot of different flavors. There's fruit punch, there's lemonade, there's iced tea, whatever.
Where would you find that?
You can find them. I like going to Vitamin Shop. They usually have a pretty good variety of things. There is a company that I use that the reason why I like it is there are no dyes, no artificial colors. They don't use aspartame or sucralose. They use stevia to sweeten. And it's non-GMO and it's organic. The company is BioEdge Science. I think their website is, I should know this. It's bioedgesciences.com, I believe, but I can get it to you if you want to have it. I can text it.
Yeah, we'll put that link in the show notes also.
And just also too, I'm a partner in the company, so I do use a lot of their products, but the reason I like them is because they are clean. They're really clean. Like now, just reading more about endocrine disruptors and colors and dyes and parabens and all these things that are in our products that are causing problems with people's hormones. This company is great because they stay away from all that stuff. So I can send you I'll send you the name, and I have a code if people want to use BioEdge. They make a great pea protein. They make a whey protein. They make different stuff, but it's all very clean and good. So.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that was going to be my next question is what about other supplements? Well, so, all right, let's say we're doing the branched chain amino acids, the creatine, right, and maybe the glutamine as well. Is there anything else that you recommend to your clients or to women over 50?
I do. The primrose oil is a big one. And I like to give my clients a good multivitamin. One I really like a lot is New Chapter. You can buy those in Whole Foods, Vitamin Shop, Amazon. But the New Chapter they make it every woman's one. So it's just one a day. They have an over 40 blend, and they have an over 55 blend. And the difference is that they just have hormonal support in there. So they may have, some herbal things in there, like maybe black cohosh and dong quai and some of those other things that we like to use in midlife just to help with the hormone balance. So those I usually will do the over 40 or the over 55, but they also make an every woman's one daily that's for everybody. But the good thing about it is it's food based, it's non-GMO, it's organic, and there's no garbage in it. And they have actually a great line of vitamins and supplements. But I love their multivitamin.
Okay. New Chapter was the
New Chapter.
Brand. New Chapter.
It's like a purpley box.
Okay.
But it's really good quality. I've used it for years. And, some of the commercial ones that you see you can buy in like the pharmacy, they've been shown that they don't do much. You take it and it goes pretty much straight down and out. So your body just doesn't absorb it. But the new chapter ones are great because they're food. If you get them and you'll see what I mean. They're kind of grainy looking because it's got food and berries and all kinds of good stuff in it. So
good to know.
Yeah. They're a good quality. They're a good, as far as vitamins go, like sometimes people will say, I don't know what to buy. I walk in the store, there's so many brands, but
yeah, it can be overwhelming, right?
Yeah. But New Chapter is a great brand. If you're just running into a Whole Foods or a vitamin shop, I don't think GNC carries their products, but if vitamin shops, I think are national around the US, and they have all their stuff. So that's always a good way to go. If you need like a, vitamin C or vitamin D or whatever. So
Linda, if people wanted to follow you online, where would they look, or where should they look?
Two places. One is my website. If someone wants to have I offer complimentary conversations. So if someone wants to have a chat about their particular situation, my website is LindaMStevens with a PH.com.
Okay.
And then my Instagram is at Linda Stevens Fit, FIT.
Okay.
So, and again, my last name is STEPHENS, not a V.
Okay. Well, we'll be sure to put the link in the show notes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's great.
Linda, thank you so much for being our guest today. It's been really informative.
Good. Yeah, it was really fun. It's, sometimes it sounds overwhelming, but it's not a lot. And when women get into a rhythm with starting to take care of themselves, it just be like anything else. It takes a couple of weeks to create a good habit. And then it becomes part of your life. Like you wouldn't leave the house without brushing your teeth,
right?
Or taking a shower. Like it becomes, people get set into it. And they're like, wow, I never thought I'd be able to do this, but I feel great. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you talking with us today. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Lots of great information from Linda. I'm glad we talked about the creatine and the glutamine and the branched chain amino acids because I see references to that stuff all the time. And I've never really quite understood what it was or why you would take it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, definitely great information. And I also enjoyed hearing her ideas about how to get more protein. I'd completely forgotten about the hemp and pea protein powders. I remember trying the hemp powder before, and I really liked it a lot.
I don't think I've ever used hemp powder, but I have used pea powder, and it was fine. And I've used some other sort of vegetarian powders that are probably a combination of all of those things.
Sure.
Linda has the coupon for us with BioEdge Sciences for 10% off. So I just want to remind everyone of that if you're interested.
Yeah, check out the show notes for that link. And also there was a vitamin called New Chapter, and I went to their website. They had a lot of different types of vitamins that were specifically for women at different ages. And she seemed to really trust that vitamin group. So that's good.
That was the multivitamin?
Right, exactly. And they even have chewable gummies if you don't like taking those big capsules.
I would love to hear what our listeners thought and what they're doing to be fit and strong. Let us know about how you're doing at our website or at any of our social media accounts. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely. You can also find us at becomingellie.com or on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Pinterest, and even Mastodon.
I want to remind everyone to be sure to follow us on our Facebook page and then join our private Facebook group where we encourage and support each other.
And if you are on the website, don't forget to sign up for our email list so that you don't miss any of our articles or podcasts. You can sign up at becomingellie.com, and that way you always know what's going on.
It was great talking with you today, Chris. I'm looking forward to our next episode of the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast.
I am too. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.